7 minutes after 8 o'clock, it's time for Island Tea. It's Tuesday, April 30th, and we've got our returning champion, fresh off his 35th birthday.
35th, yes.
35, yes.
Told him.
And the great K. What's up?
Good morning to everybody.
Morning.
Notice he didn't bring any cake, but
no, so we ought to send him back down the stairs, you know.
I mean, you didn't bring any of the golden velvet cake for us.
Well, it is vanilla because it hasn't been cut yet, but I'll bring you a
So it's yellow.
It's cream, but the outside.
I'm just teasing you,
But
man.
you know, I asked that the little
you.
design be done like, you know, the little tuxedo with the gold bow tie. You know, you have to be gold or yellow, you know.
God.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
I know, right?
we have to be
It's too much.
We have to be consistent with our colors.
Okay, sir. It's your birthday. Do whatever you want. We can't deny you that.
Okay, Calvin Klein.
I know he wants his bow tie.
So, how has everyone been? How was yesterday for you?
Good. It was the second to last day of the month. Today is the absolute last. I am grateful that I would have gotten here. I'm still punching and working on my goals. So for those that I didn't complete in this month, I will take them over to May and onwards. What about you?
Yesterday for me was a very good day. I tried not to do anything work related. Oftentimes my days are so busy when it comes to work and having deadlines and everything like that. I just said, you know, I'm going to take the opportunity to just,
Chill.
you know, chill.
Okay.
Yes, not do anything work related, you know.
Oh boy.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So we realize that we are on the last day of April. It's the 30th of April, you know. So let's see, January, February, March, April. So it's four
First
four
quarter
months.
of the year is done.
So no, 1/3 of the year is done.
Isn't it 4
So
months?
wouldn't that be
4?
1/3.
no,
because
3? It would be 3.
yeah,
The 12.
because it's 12
4,
months.
yeah,
12
one
months
third.
yes.
I don't know
So-
why I'm thinking 4.
So we even more than a quarter of the year. You understand? We are 1/3 of the year completed. We have 2/3
A
remaining.
quarter would have been at March.
Yes. And so we have, you know, the year quickly going on. It's 2024. So persons out there, you know, we know that you're busy doing what you have to do, you know, as time progresses. We're just hoping that you're able to fulfill your goals. We're hoping that you're able to do what it takes. You know, when we started off the year, usually we have a lot of New Year's resolutions, you know, things that we want to accomplish, things that we want to see done. And in doing so, we often give ourselves timelines, you know. This year we want to do this.
Most of it were abandoned before Easter.
And Easter came eearly this year, didn't it?
Oh, boy.
Yes.
Yep. And today is International Jazz Day. So for those jazz lovers around the world in St. Kitts and Nevis, enjoy your day.
Yeah, somebody actually reminded me of that, I think about 10 days ago, and I kind of forgot again. So thanks for reminding me.
You're
Yeah.
welcome, sir.
Me, because I just need any excuse, but I didn't remember.
So today you gotta play us a little jazz in
Yes,
between.
the little music. And you know that
Yes.
at 8:30 we have our weekly dose with Dr. Natalie Osborne. So weekly dose now airs at 8:30. Yeah, we're no longer having weekly dose at 9 a.m. We're going to have it at 8:30. So we welcome persons. So we have a few minutes before the good doctor, no pun intended, the show.
And then directly
comes.
following the doctor, we have a segment with Caribbean Lotto that was rescheduled from last week.
So we have quite the discussion here this morning, and we want persons to stay tuned with what,
especially those with diabetes, Azard, because today's and their caretakers, because we know some people would have lost a limb, etc., etc. Today's topic is diabetes-related foot conditions. So at 8:30, you must tune in.
Yes.
So yesterday we had a hit and run, which I actually didn't find out about until
day before.
Sunday,
which is sad.
Yeah.
We had a chopping up yesterday, though.
What?
Yeah, at Baker's Corner. That was horrible.
The person died?
No.
Oh my God.
They're just hospitalized.
Oh,
I don't
wow.
understand what's going on in all little countries. Like, we need to pray more and more and more and more, because every day is something. It's sad.
Wow.
So it's like a matchet or something?
Yeah,
Oh,
apparently,
God.
geesh.
And then
that person didn't have a gun. The person armed
boy.
themselves with a matchet.
And then so I received this morning. It's same general area. A lady, a member of the general community with that person experienced a hit and run, who sadly lost his life.
Mr. Marlon Francis.
Yes. I hope that sounds like someone I know.
I'm hoping it's not,
Oh
because
my
the
God.
name is ringing a bell, but I
Yes.
can't put a face to it. And I don't know, since when we live in a society where you can't get in trouble and you don't think it's right to stop, you just hit that person and you
Yeah.
just proceeded on and left that person basically for dead. Because what if you could have called and that person could have been alive today? You left them to succumb to their injuries.
And the thing is, more than likely, there was no one around, and the person took advantage of the opportunity to scram.
This is why we need the cameras on those lights.
So I wanted to bring light to that. Someone sent me, like I was saying, the same general area where Marlon Francis was hit. A member of the community who lives near the craft house is missing. She suffers from dementia and was last seen. I sent it in the chat, actually. She was last seen heading towards the Frigate Bay area last night.
Wow.
And no one
I
stopped.
think I know who that is.
Yes, I know that person too. Please keep a lookout for her and contact authorities immediately if you have any information. They could have given the name, so at least if you see the person might respond to their name, and that's like, I think like that's the first step towards assuring her safety. So let's hope. I know that face for sure. Yeah.
If I don't want to say who I think it is, but because you don't want to spread false rumor, but the one person I know from that area, I have a strong belief it's her. But as you said, they didn't provide the name, so we can't say the name because we can't make assumptions.
Unless the name is in the because I just read the blurb on top rather than going into the article.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that
I actually know that name.
When it comes to dementia, I think it's so unfortunate.
Yes, and it seems to be rearing its head a lot.
Yeah.
More and more these days.
Yeah.
So I think it's important that people maybe do the things, try and live as healthily as possible.
And based on the based on the CDC.gov website, it says age. It says at what age does dementia start? It says, well, the strongest known risk factor for dementia is increasing age, with most cases affecting those of 65 years and older.
Dementia.
And maybe this might make it hit home for some people. Bruce Willis actually is suffering from that right now.
Yeah.
Wow.
It started with aphasia, and then now.
Yeah.
So he's.
So he's left us with some unfinished movies. I don't mean to sound sarcastic, but
no,
his last movie, I swear there was a continuation to that, but because
How
of his
old
condition.
is he now?
He's in his early 60s. He's not old. He's no.
Yeah.
So
So-
I was really shocked when I heard that because
Mhm. Yeah, I asked because just reading this, it says, the chances of you getting it increases with age, and it says
Yeah.
around 65.
But I wonder what contributes to it though. He's 69.
69.
Mm.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh, I was thinking
almost
like
batting for
63 or so.
70.
Okay, doesn't look his
Yeah.
age though.
No.
It says here, what are the 10 early warning signs of dementia? It says, some of the primary early warning signs of dementia include memory decline, poor decision making, and social withdrawal. These changes may also lead to emotional and behavioral concerns like anxiety, confusion, and fear. Keep in mind, early signs of dementia are not the same as normal related memory decline.
Wow.
Oh, okay. Well, at least that's good because sometimes sometimes you're talking with a friend and something happens to distract you, and then after the distraction, but you go, "Oh, what were we talking about?"
Yeah.
And like no one,
Exactly.
nobody can remember
Oh
what.
boy.
And here it says, what can trigger dementia? It says the following medical conditions also lead to dementia. And it says Huntington disease, brain injury, multiple sclerosis. It says infections such as HIV and AIDS, syphilis and Lyme disease, Parkinson disease, Pick disease, progressive supranuclear palsy. It also says excessive alcohol use.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Okay. I just hope Natalie doesn't come with jokes. No, I'm more.
You mean with alcohol?
I drink, but I'm not like
Mhm.
I'm not like this hardcore.
Mhm.
Take a hammer to the rum shop type.
Yeah.
Yeah,
type,
sit
you
down
know?
in the corner. And
Yeah.
Here it says here, how to prevent dementia. What can you do? It says control high blood pressure, manage blood sugar, maintain a healthy weight, eat a healthy diet, keep physically active, stay mentally active, stay connected with family and friends, treat hearing problems.
Boy.
Mhm.
Treat hearing problems.
That's
Really?
what
Yeah,
it says.
because sometimes what you hear is not really what you hear. I don't know if I sometimes experience that. I'm like,
Yeah, me
what did
too.
you say? Or sometimes I respond to something and then the person will say,
Have you-
I didn't say that.
Have you
And I'm
ever
like,
really?
It says here,
Yeah.
hearing loss may affect, it says, because, your cognitive ability. And it also says here, dementia risks in older adults can make it more difficult to interact with others. Protect your ears from loud sounds to prevent hearing loss and use of hearing aids if needed. I guess it means that it would affect the way in which you socialize, because if you can't hear, you can't really socialize well. And so as you age, I guess it means you're going to be withdrawn, something like that.
Yeah.
It says here, take care of your mental and physical health. This includes recommended health screens, managing chronic health issues such as depression or high cholesterol, and regularly checking in with your health provider. It says sleep well, prevent head injury, drink less alcohol. And I'm going to read what they say about this one. It says drinking too much alcohol can lead to falls and worsen health conditions such as diabetes, high blood pressure, stroke, memory loss, and mood disorders. The National Institute on Alcohol Abuse and Alcoholism, part of the National Institutes of Health, recommends that men should not have more than 2 drinks a day and women only 1. Stop tobacco use. Says at any age, stopping smoking can improve your health and lower the risk of heart attack, stroke, and lung disease. Yeah.
Well, that's good to know. And looking around the Caribbean, let's see. Whenever you pull these things up, they always disappear. So, is there anything on you guys
Mine?
plates?
No, I was just thinking
that
we're
you wanted
starting
to-
daily dose early.
That's
with
what I was
dementia, and then we're
thinking,
going to go to
yes.
diabetes because diabetes is one of the cause
Yeah.
of dementia
Yeah.
and the cause of some persons feet deteriorating. But no,
wow.
Jams, if you have something while we wait, we have about 10 minutes.
But I'm seeing an article here that says Turks and Caicos assures visitors it remains a welcoming place. You guys spoke about this before?
No, I saw it yesterday, but I thought it was because all of these gentlemen are being found with all these ammunition in their bags that they're not taking due care to check prior to packing. So at least 4 or 5 of them are on the list. And so they're telling people, you don't have to be afraid. Just make sure you do your due diligence to ensure that you don't have any form of ammunition or anything in your bag.
Yeah. So they're saying the Turks and Caicos Islands is assuring visitors that its destination remains a welcoming and safe haven for travelers seeking an unforgettable escape. The assurance comes following concerns over recent charges against U.S. nationals for possession of ammunition offenses. The government confirmed last week that 4 U.S. nationals have been charged for possession of ammunition offenses against the firearms ordinance as amended. Despite this, the Turks and Caicos Islands wants all visitors to know that the destination is still a welcoming place. Yes, indeed. It's still a welcoming place.
Just be mindful of what's in your bag. Jamster, what's on your plate?
No, this was something I was thinking about yesterday. I don't know if you guys know that guys know that the UK is made up of 4 constituent countries, you can say.
Ireland.
Yeah, Northern Ireland, England, Scotland, Wales.
Okay.
And you guys know that the Prime Minister of the UK now is
Rishi Sunak.
Yeah, Rishi Sunak, an Indian.
Yeah.
And the First Minister, which is like sort of like Mac's counterpart, like the Premier of Scotland, is an Arab guy, Humza Yousaf. And Scotland's First Minister, Humza Yousaf, resigned on Monday rather than face a no confidence vote, just days after he torpedoed a coalition with the Green Party by ditching a target for fighting climate change. Yousaf, whose Scottish National Party has been weakened by a campaign finance scandal and divisions over transgender rights, stepped down after failing to strike a deal with the breakaway Nationalist Party. What I wanted to get at, he's the one that succeeded Nicola Sturgeon. You guys may have heard that name. She was kind of popular in
She?
before.
Nicola?
Yeah, the First Minister before, yeah. So, and what's interesting is that Scotland was against leaving the EU. So there were fears that after Brexit, that Scotland would he actually one of the people spearheading a move to have a referendum to leave England so that they can rejoin the EU and all of that. But the thing that struck me is think about the fact that you have two non-white individuals heading up 2 constituent countries of the UK, right? And what's never going to be said, because I've spoken to many people who live in the UK and some people who follow this kind of stuff, and I said, hey, you think the British will vote for an Indian guy as Prime Minister? Because remember, he just got there because
of everybody just resigning.
And then Yousaf now, he was hoping to run for First Minister because he actually didn't. That wasn't by election either.
That was on again?
Yeah, that was Nicholas,
Wow.
I think, yeah. So I'm thinking what the elephant in the room is that I feel, and a lot of my friends feel, that the British are not going to vote for non-white people to lead them.
Not nice.
And then this guy is a Muslim too. So, and reading between the lines, you heard the bit there about transgender rights. And I could imagine what a tightrope it is for someone.
To each his own, but I
who,
swear.
Who has to, you have to thread needles, political needles like that, where certain things go against your beliefs. And then you have to contend with the fact that you're viewed with suspicion by a large portion of the population because you're not a native Briton, right?
But what if they are native Briton? They're just the parents maybe weren't from there.
Yeah, but
maybe
meaning native as in the white people are the natives.
You really think so?
Yeah. I mean,
I don't think so.
what do you mean?
I think the Indians will run from everywhere.
You think they were Indians
Yes.
and you think so?
Yeah. Because even I was telling somebody the other day, we look at America and we really think America run America when we realize it's the Jews that run America.
Of course.
When the white people act like they're in charge, it's those people behind the scenes that don't make a big fuss.
And also,
Those are the ones that are in charge.
But the irony is, the Jews run everything, and yet they act like they're the most set upon and most persecuted people on the planet when they're pulling all the strings financially.
Yup.
And all that,
Yup.
It's so funny.
Yep.
And then don't get me started on who the real Jews are. But anyway, that's a different story.
We got a lesson on who they are already. Remember when the church was here, they told us who they are. So, yeah. But listen, I swear every day I wake up and I'll be like, again, because now they're talking about the young people, let me not call them children, that are soon to be adults that are protesting at the colleges that if they don't stop, eventually some of them will be suspended. And they're basically asking them to chill because they're messing with their future.
Yes, and now, actually, I saw a piece, yes? Was it yesterday or the day before? Yesterday, I think. Don Lemon interviewed... because he lives in New York. He lives close to New York University, so he went by and did an interview. And he spoke to a Jewish dude who was pro Palestine, and a Gentile. A Gentile woman she says she's not Jewish, but she has Jewish friends, and he asked some very good questions. But I find it very interesting that. I never thought I would live to see the day when you'd have Jews actually rising up against Zionism and rising up against a lot of the stuff, a lot of the questionable stuff that Israel does. 10, 20 years ago, this would have been unthinkable. And one of the things that is coming out of this whole issue is the fact that a lot of people are taking pains to point out to Israel that us not agreeing with you doesn't make us anti-Semitic. Yeah. Because they want to lump it as like, you
don't agree with us, you're fighting against us.
They expect everyone to just throw their hands up and agree with everything they does. Just rubber stamp everything they does. And if you don't, you're anti-Semitic. Yeah. So,
crazy.
I know.
Yes. So we have our good doctor in the house.
Still got 2 minutes to go.
Yeah?
We still got 2 minutes before we pull in the studio.
Okay.
So let her take a breather, catch her breath after that.
But you guys
trek up the stairs.
You guys know that, and there's some university in Iran as well.
What is it doing?
I think they're kind of aping the demonstrations in the U.S.
Oh.
You need to get a TV, Azard, or
remember, it was his birthday. He did nothing yesterday.
He
didn't do anything yesterday. You have to forgive him. It was his birthday, Jam. So he was not going to do anything that was going to hurt his brain. He was just going to enjoy 35 because right after it's 40, okay? So he had to take it light yesterday.
I had a new name for you. I mean, I'm going to have to take it back.
What's
PJ.
That? What's PJ?
Politics Jesus. I'm going to have to take it back because, you're not as rounded as I would like, so. It can't be Jesus. It has to be some other name.
Based on just me asking you one thing that you said is going on in the world, just one thing. So how many things are going on in the world?
I mean, listen,
plenty, right?
Plenty.
You need to be.
We have about 6 billion people. We have
probably
so many.
More.
We have 190 plus countries. We have so many different issues.
But there's a lot of stuff that rises to the top that isn't hard to find if you.
I asked you about one school, one university in Iran, across on the other side of the world, and I just asked you what they're doing.
I didn't say one.
Azad sound like you went to Wusa school yesterday with that voice. Wusa school, like Wusa.
Oh,
I just asked him about one, And so one of many.
Boy.
So I just wanted to be informed, As I said yesterday, I had a very chill day, and so I didn't look at much of the news that's going on. So if that one slipped me Yeah, man.
I hope
it's
I hope
fine.
you fired up a few beers. And never mind what Natalie said. You fired up a
I,
few
I,
beers,
I,
right?
I spoke to you this morning.
Don't mind
Jackson.
her.
Did you
You
hear?
have to have
I
a little
spoke
alcohol.
to him this morning.
You have Azard stammering over here.
I
You're
spoke
putting
to
Azard
him.
on the spot,
No.
you know.
You want me to tell you? I spoke to him this morning.
Uh-huh.
I read an article. I highlighted an area in the article that says too much alcohol use could lead to dementia.
I know.
He
Listen.
ignored me. He ignored what I said and encouraging
I was
alcohol
busy.
use.
I was elsewhere.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Yeah,
oh
looking
boy.
at me. Every time alcohol comes up, he looks at me knowingly. I don't
I
know
wonder
why.
why.
Oh,
Okay, we
no.
have our weekly dose coming up next, and I guess we can expect the usual elbows about alcohol from Natalie. But anyways,
Found the sound 98.9
Great to see you, Chrissy and Joe.
Hi, we're here to talk home ownership.
Okay, you're in the right place at the right time.
Maybe you've been thinking about your own home, and CIBC Caribbean has been thinking about you. Settle in, put your feet up, and don't bother about your first mortgage payment, as we'll help with that and more. Visit CIBCFCIB.com/inspired home for more information. Conditions apply.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib. It's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
First time to hear.
and with a little nod to International Jazz Day, we get into weekly dose with some Etienne Charles out of Trinidad and Tobago.
Yes.
Let's go.
We're right
Morning,
here.
Doc.
Good morning.
Yes. How are you doing?
I am doing wonderful.
How are you feeling?
I'm feeling great. It's good to be here with you guys today once again. Hi,
Yes.
Kortensia.
Hi, morning. I'm just trying to settle in.
Mm.
My earrings are hurting my ears, so I have to take them out.
So we're talking about diabetes, and we're specifically talking about diabetes-related foot conditions.
Yes.
So we're going to hone our skills and our focus on that.
Yes.
So, tell us, doctor. We've spoken about diabetes before, but we've never really made it specific to foot-related conditions. Why did you choose this topic?
Okay, because we're seeing so many diabetics come into the hospital with a foot condition.
Yeah.
And it's really scary at the rate at which they present and represent. And in having conversations, I'm often wondering if the information that we're imparting to them is new. And so we need to do more education in the community, because we're seeing diabetic patients who've been diabetics for 15, 20 years, and sometimes they're still unaware of the details and information about their disease itself. And so the lack of knowledge is leading to a lot of these readmission, leading to a lot of them having amputations, wide debridement, losing toes, and ultimately losing a limb, which not only affect them long term and changes their life forever, it also puts a strain on the healthcare services here that we have. So this is a very important topic. Many of us may be diabetics ourselves who are listening. Many persons have family members who are also diabetic. And what we do not want is when we get to the end point where we have to say you're going to lose a limb at this point, then the person is all worried, scared, panic, and hope, and we cannot go back. We can't turn back the hand of time. So prevention is always better. So we're going to talk about that today.
What causes diabetes-related foot conditions, though?
Once you're diabetic, you're at risk of having problems with your feet. So it's very important. And the longer time you are diabetic, the worse it can become, because this damage is going on inside. It may be below the surface, and all these changes are happening over time until you have a problem. So the two main reasons for having diabetes-related condition, and I want you to hear me well, it's what we call diabetic-related neuropathy. And what is that? It may sound like a difficult word, but neuropathy refers to the nerves, the peripheral neuropathy, meaning that you've lost sensation. And that is very important, because every time we stand, every time we're taking a position, you shift around, taking the weight and the strain off of your limb. If you're unable to feel and you've lost sensation over time, you can have an injury and do not know you have that injury and walk around with that injury for days and then present very late. Because the nerves become so damaged over time, persons are unable to feel. We've seen patients who presented, they've had foreign bodies in their foot, and they're unable to identify it. I remember, and I've never forgotten this, we've taken a toothpick out of the foot of someone, and you will be so amazed how and the person was unaware that that was there. So that is what we call diabetic neuropathy, and it's very important. If you do not feel, you're unaware that there is a cut. Someone who's a non-diabetic, for example, if you're wearing a tight pair of shoes, immediately, this shoes is a size too small for me. But a diabetic will go all day with the shoe and then have a related issue. Then they will see them develop a blister at the tip of their toes. Sometimes they're even unaware when did this start, and they present and they're not able to give you a proper history. So that is why the diabetic neuropathy or the nerve damage is so terrible. Another thing we have to keep in mind is the peripheral arterial disease. There's damage to the nerves and the nerve endings, okay? And with diabetes, that worsens over time. To the small nerves, you have injuries to these nerves. Some of them are damaged, blocked off. And what? You need blood supply for good wound healing. Any living creature, any living part of our body needs blood that takes oxygen, nutrients. And as a diabetic, if you have a wound, because your blood supply to that area and the blood vessels are so damaged, it leads to poor wound healing. And then these diabetics, you may heal within a week or two. These diabetics have these wounds prolonged for several weeks.
Stay open.
And they may never heal. Another thing that affects diabetics, they're immunocompromised. Their body's not responding as adequately because their cells that are responsible for fighting, they're not as strong and healthy. Their overall immune system is low. And then lastly, very importantly, so the blood sugars are uncontrolled. I could tell you stories where patients are diabetic, but they'll say, Doc, I didn't take my medication. I haven't taken it for the entire week. And so you're there with this patient and you know that they've been a diabetic for several years. And for whatever reason, they haven't taken their medication. And so when you check their blood sugars, it's very elevated. That is what creates the problem. These high blood sugars damages the nerve, damages the blood vessels, and lead to all of these complications. They may be young and healthy at one point and they think that it's okay and they get away with it for a while, but it catches up with you 10, 15 years down the line. And we're seeing so many of our diabetic patients returning to the hospital consistently, and they're well known with different injuries.
So how often should someone who has diabetes do checkups?
Well, as often as necessary. At least you want to have a yearly visit. And it all depends. If you have a concern, then you always check in. But there's several things that we're going to talk about, some of the preventative care and the treatment that would lead you to realize when I need to come in, how often do I need to check in.
Okay, let's talk about what are the types of diabetes-related foot conditions.
So anything that injures the nerves or circulation related to the diabetes with your foot have an increased risk of turning into an infection or some other severe complications related to diabetes.
Yes.
Okay, so these are some of the conditions or issues with the foot that you want to be aware of. Little cuts, ulcers, burns, or blisters that don't heal. A lot of our diabetics, they would, I remember we had a patient who presented that had walked on the hot pavement and presented with blisters on the sole of the feet, and they were diabetic. The average person would not do that because then you realize that the pavement is hot.
Yeah.
But as a diabetic, because your nerves and your sensory level is so decreased, you would not realize that the pavement is this hot.
Yeah.
And so you walk, and both of the sole of his feet were blistered over. So if you have dry, cracked skin, we always talk about our diabetics, you have to keep your skin moist and supple.
Yeah.
If you have corns and calluses, these are issues that can lead to having further complications. If there's a fungal issue between your toes, you may have these fungus that start. Ingrown toenails. A simple infection can start from an ingrown toenail that progresses to the loss of a toe. Things like hammer toes or bunions. So these are some of the issues that it starts as. And if go unchecked, then it can then proceed to a severe complication.
Wow.
I always wondered, how does the body deal with, and I've seen people with, I remember as a kid seeing like people with advanced gangrene,
Yeah.
say maybe up to mid, what was that? The mid femur, maybe. And how does the body deal with the barrier where the gangrene ends and the healthy? I always wondered. How does that work? I see bones showing. I've seen people with maggots in there. I am serious. As a kid, I've actually seen this.
So we're going to talk about gangrene a little bit more,
Yeah.
but gangrene simply means that the tissue is dead. In that instant, that tissue is dead. And what happens over time, as if it's not attended to, it continues to progress and it goes proximally upwards. And of course, with that issue now, you have to go above the gangrenous tissue or the unhealthy tissue, because once a tissue is dead or becomes gangrenous, it cannot get back life again to it. That tissue is all destroyed, it's dead. The blood supply has been cut off for such a long time, okay, that the tissue died. We know that every part of our body needs blood supply, need oxygen for it to survive. And once you start with a wound that goes unchecked in a diabetic, that becomes infected, and that could go on and lead to gangrene.
Can you have like a blood poisoning type thing where
There
that
is
doesn't happen?
what this street usually refers to as blood poisoning is that there is an infection. What happens when your blood sugar is high? Okay, it's a medium for bacteria to grow. If you ever did science, when you're trying to grow bacteria, even in the lab, you'll use algae. That's a sugar substance there in the petri dish. And the bacteria enjoys the sugar, so they grow and multiply. With diabetics, of course, you may be non-diabetic jamster. There may be another individual, and both of you sustain the injury, maybe a puncture wound with a nail. And then you go on and you're fine. But a diabetic, within a day or two, they can have serious infections that then lead to limb loss. Why? Because of what we said here. The healing process in the body is much delayed. The immune system is affected. The blood glucose level is so rampant, any bacteria that gets in, it multiplies and feeds on that.
Okay.
All right?
Okay, don't want to take you off track, but
Yes.
Azard,
And
do you have the next
so,
one?
yes. So here we have the next question, and so it's, what are the symptoms of diabetes-related foot condition?
No, is the next one.
Sorry. What is the most common diabetes-related foot problem?
The most common is to have like ulcers. Okay, you have something there. Anytime you have the foot is made up of many bones. If you put pressure on particular areas, remember we said as a diabetic you're not feeling. So you're wearing an uncomfortable shoe, you're standing in a long position, you're lying in bed, and you keep that heel in a set position for a long time, where the blood flow has become affected. Then you have a breakdown in the skin leading to that ulcer, leading to that condition. If that ulcer goes unchecked, it worsens over time. So that is how it usually starts, with an ulcer somewhere. Maybe you're wearing a tight pair of shoe, and the tip of the big toe is hitting against the shoe. at the front. And then when you take off your shoe, you see a dark spot or blister there. Remember, the diabetics have lost such sensation in their limb. They're not feeling that there is a problem there. We've had stories. Your aunt may have sent you a nice pair of shoes from England, and you're not wearing the appropriate size. It's a half size too small. And you insist that you're going to wear it because it's a cute shoe and your aunt sent it for you. And then when you take that shoe off, you realize there are blisters, there are ulcers on the foot. All right?
Okay. So let's talk about what are the symptoms of the diabetes-related foot conditions.
Okay, it varies based on the type of injury, okay? But you should look for several different things. Anytime there are changes in your skin, we always recommend that our diabetic patients, they do checks regularly. And if they're unable to do those checks themselves, they have a loved one, a family, or their physician to do these checks for them. So you're looking for like changes in your skin, cut, blister, calluses or sore. It usually starts like that. Frequent bleeding. You may see things like a discharge, a pus coming from a wound there. Foul smell. Pain. Remember that most of the times they may not even feel any pain. Skin discoloration, where you realize that your foot starts to become darkened, okay? We've had many patients as well too who come in because a family member went to visit them. They're in the home there and they have a foul smelling foot, but because it's happening over time, the nose, the nostril adjust to it and they don't even smell that there is a problem after a while. And so they come in late stage. You're looking for things like swelling. If you touch the foot, if it is warm, these are things we want you to be aware of. And if any diabetic have even the most minute injury, you cannot ignore it because something that you may think may be simple can progress rapidly in the next 24 to 48 hours.
I think how you have broken down the topic this morning and introduced it, it really opens up your mind and your eyes to the situation and the experiences that persons who are suffering from diabetes face.
Well, here comes Jams's question. So what are the complications of diabetes-related foot conditions?
So Jamston, we touched on this earlier, gangrene. These are the complications and the Charcot's joint. What is gangrene, you ask me, Kortensia? It's when there is dead tissue. It starts by having a wound that doesn't heal because of all the factors, poor blood supply, not enough oxygen. You need oxygen to heal the tissue. You need blood to take the nutrients. Oftentimes we give the diabetics antibiotics, but it's not getting to the source where it's needed because you need that blood supply to take it down. So if it doesn't get there, you're giving this antibiotic that's not getting to the source that is needed, and that tissue continues to become dead. And what happens? It keeps extending, and that tissue extends, and it becomes soft and mushy like. You start to hear like crackles in it. Those are signs of what we call gangrene. It becomes black. And then, of course, you have the foul scent. And there's no other choice but to remove that digit. And then patients are now begging us to save the toe, insisting that it be saved. But once it gets to that point, there is no way of saving it. If not addressed, this gangrene, that it is local just on the toe, it can then get into the bloodstream that James spoke about, as we say, poison, and give you what we call sepsis, where there's a generalized infection. These persons then begin to have things like fever, chills, sweats, and you see lots of changes. They're feeling weak. They start to have nausea and vomiting. And we know that these persons are septic. And what's the source of this septicemia? The foot that is infected. And at that point, there's nothing else we do, because above all things, we have to save the patient's life. But then that leads to limb loss or loss of digits.
Thanks for clearing that up, because that was something I always wondered, if there wasn't a situation where some of the gangrenous fluids could get into the healthy bloodstream.
Yes, it does get into the head blood, and that's where the street would say you poison the blood now, because that bacteria is now circulating. All right.
I've seen so much of this when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I remember going to the market with my grandmother. Yeah. And there was a man, and it's like every Saturday he was there, and I'm not making this up, they were literally maggots in his, I'm serious, like just above the knee, not the knee, above the ankle.
Yep.
And it was swollen, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
And then the smell, and like everybody's just going from stall to stall, like nothing.
Nothing. Yeah,
And I'm
because
like-
nobody. Yeah, it wasn't a big thing back then. Now the average person's gonna be like, get him out of
Jamster,
here.
was he selling? Was he a vendor?
No, I don't think so.
Mm.
I got the impression he was just shopping like everybody.
Yeah, and just taking a break.
Wow.
Oh boy.
Wow.
And then you'd have people in the neighborhood and so on who, oh, sore foot, so and so.
Yeah,
sore
that's
foot,
that's
so
what I
and
used to
so.
call it. Yeah, sore
Yes,
foot.
yes.
And all that's diabetes, right?
Yes,
Wow.
most time it's related. These chronic wounds, most times is related to diabetes. And you
Diabetes,
say, oh, this
yes.
person has a
Sore foot.
sore foot. And,
The things we call things long time. So we spoke about the gangrene foot. So what is the charcot foot?
Okay, so the charcot foot as well too is another complication. We start by saying that you have lost sensation. You have to know where your foot is in space, in time. So when you have charcot joint, there's lots of sensibility. There's deformity of your bones and your joints, and you put your foot, it becomes twisted. You said, and then there's breakdown
my
there. So you see
God.
these changes in the foot as a result of these diabetes. And almost as if it becomes so severe, almost as if the foot is disconnected
Yeah,
from the
floating
joint.
by itself.
Yes,
I've
just
seen
when-
all of that, Jamster.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's what you call a severe, but it's a complication that you have. So you have to make sure that you take care of your feet and your joints, okay? Because these joints, they collapse. In our feet, there are lots of bones and joints that connects them, and it becomes permanent. You get infections and stuff, so.
Yeah. That same foot, as you said, sometimes
The
you see
Charcot's
people.
foot?
The Charcot's foot. You see people with discolorations on their feet. Is that typical to type 2 or type 1 diabetes?
Well, there is no distinction per se. It all depends. And what is the discoloration? Because we could have discoloration on the foot for different diseases. We've got something that we, I don't know if we discussed it before, venous disease, venous insufficiency, where there's this darkened discoloration. But if there's tissue that is affected, the skin can become black or darkened. If you are developing something like an abscess, it could be red and warm. So this discoloration can be different. When you say discoloration,
But most
it will
diabetics
change.
that I would have noticed, Doc, it's dark.
Their feet
So you
are-
just see it dark, and the darkness is like traveling upwards. So it starts from the ankle, and then it's just coming up, trying to reach the calves, etc., etc.
Over time, what could happen as your blood supplies weaken and stuff, you could have changes in your skin. These persons over time, the hair on their skin would start to be less, because even the hair follicles need blood supply. The skin become thinned out and shiny, so there are changes in the
Yeah,
skin,
I see that. I
and
see
they
the
become dark.
shininess. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I see that one too. Boy, oh boy.
So, how are diabetes-related foot conditions diagnosed?
Yes. So, firstly, you're going to have the symptoms, or the patient will talk about the symptoms they present to you, and you take a good history of their diabetes, how long they've been diabetic, what are their treatment, and how is it managed. Then you want to examine. This doesn't need anything fancy. Anybody can look at someone's foot, look between their toes, touch the foot, looking for skin changes, for warmth in the foot, looking for swelling and stuff. And that's how you observe and diagnose this. An X-ray may come into play if you're thinking that the infection is so deep into the tissues or into the bones. And in rare cases where you have that resources in a first world country, you have things like an MRI. But you want to make sure, examine the limb. And simple examination by any healthcare provider can assist you quite rapidly with that.
I've noticed a recurring symptom. What causes the extra warmth in some of these conditions?
Okay, the warmth in some of these conditions is part of the inflammatory process. Okay, when you talk about persons having an infection or inflammatory, there is redness or change in color, there's warmth, all right? There is swelling, there is pain, and usually there's some loss of function. So you start limping, you're unable to walk. So that warmth there is usually when there is an infectious process, more blood is circulated to that area. Increase perfusion, because your objective is what's going on down there. We need to try and sort it out, getting all the the fighter cells in your body to that area to help destroy the bacteria. So it's all part of the inflammatory or the immune system responding in that instant, okay?
Okay, so what is the treatment for diabetes-related foot conditions?
Okay, this is important. It depends on what your problem is, but you always want to clean the wounds, okay? Clean the wounds. If there is an infection there where you see pus, necrotic tissue, you want to remove those tissue, drain the pus out. We call things like debridement. You mean moving any dead tissue in that area.
Yeah.
All right, you cut it away. You want to apply any special bandages, use antibiotic ointments and oral antibiotics so that it gets into your system and it takes care of the infection there. All right, these patients at times, and I'm always, for any little thing, it's best to admit a diabetic patient. Why? Because sometimes the treatment at home, they may not be done adequately, or the oral antibiotic doesn't get there as efficiently as we would like for someone who's a non-diabetic. So for any simple reason, we always admit or encourage our diabetic patients to be admitted so they can have antibiotics via IV, and also that we can keep a close eye on them, keep them off their feet, give them physiotherapy. So we tend to be aggressive early on, which we always recommend, so that later on we don't have the complications. Because a limb loss is very costly, not only on the patients and the changes in their lives that it brings, but also on the healthcare resources when you think about it. So earlier intervention is always best with those those diabetic patients.
So you talk about early, let's look at prevention. How can one prevent these conditions?
If you have not listened to anything I've said so far, this is the one thing we want you to make sure that you listen to or learn something from. One of the first things you want to do, if you're diagnosed as a diabetic, you want to ensure that your blood sugars are controlled. You want to manage these things first, because blood sugar controlled stays off the complications like the diabetic neuropathy, the peripheral arterial disease, or the weak blood supplies and things like that. So you want to ensure that. So you want to check regularly. And as you age too, your body's need for your medication for diabetes will change. Oftentimes I will have a patient come in and they've been a diabetic for 20 years, but they're still on one drug, for example, an oral drug, and you try to explain to them that drug is no longer effective. They may have to be placed on insulin at this time, and there is resistance there, but your body's changes over time and your needs for the drugs changes over time. That's why your follow-ups are very important. You want to make sure that anything that you have, your symptoms, the early symptoms, you get them checked out as well. Any little sores, you get it checked out very early. You want to be able to adjust these changes and stuff. Have your feet looked at as often as possible. Lots of times, because not only does diabetes affect our limbs, especially our most distal limbs, we call them the peripheral limbs, it affects our kidneys, our heart, our brain, our eyes. So you have diabetic neuropathy, and so these persons have poor eyesight over time. So you may not be able to observe if there's a change in your foot. In this instance, you will have a family member check it, look at it on a regular basis. If you have it's best to cut your nail across so you do not go into the cuticles. You don't want to create any infection there as well too. And you do these things early in terms of preventing. Make sure that your feet are moist and not dry. Cracked feet leads to breaking the skin, and then a bacteria gets in. Oftentimes, patients do not know how the infection began because what? The feet are dry and cracked, and any minute injury, the bacteria can get in. So you have to you can see, if you trust someone who can do regular pedicures, make sure you and do it correctly, and make sure that your feet are taken care of. Ensure that you're wearing adequate shoes at that point. Do not wear shoes that are tight. Most of the shoes today, they may be cute, but they're very uncomfortable. You know that.
Yep.
So you've got to ensure that your shoes are comfortable. You're wearing socks that are comfortable, not too tight. And please do not walk barefooted. We're having too much of diabetics coming. Doc, I was stuck by a piece of bottle. My glass broke at the house, and it stuck me because I was walking around barefooted, etc. You don't want to have have those instances. So you want to have the education. We want to encourage the education at the level of the health centers as well. When you have your patients in, each doctor, a diabetic patient, you take 5 minutes and do a quick education and reinforcing the importance of foot care, because that's what we often do. I had a patient recently. He had gangrene to the foot and he was very resistant in having any care. And he actually refused and left the institution. We have persons who are like that, because when you tell someone they have to lose their limb below the knee, it's a life-altering thing and they resist it so much. But if we can start at the beginning and prevent this by doing all that we say, having the regular care, do not walk barefooted at any pavement, go into your backyard barefooted. You want to make sure your house is kept nice and swept. If there is any broken bottle, you want to take care of those stuff immediately and avoid walking barefooted, because you could have a piece of bottle stuck in there and you do not realize it for days. Okay? Make sure that your shoes are comfortable. Make sure that you do your checks. So these are things we encourage so that there is early detection and prevent. And we've got many patients who are in their 70s and 80s who are diabetics who've not have these problems, but some persons are more prone and they have to be much more vigilant. But what happens to under the, it's like what we say, an iceberg. You only see the tip of the iceberg, but below there's a lot going on. And so patients are eating as they wish, high carbs, lots of sugary drinks and stuff. But later on, as we get older, into our 40s and 50s, it catches up with us. And then we have these complications.
But as I told you before, when we had a diabetic conversation, that being a diabetic, you crave sugar more. So it's like you really have to try your hardest to keep away from it. And you're speaking about these things, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I've had someone that has gone through all these stages, and I'm like, boy, I don't want to be there. I don't want to be there.
Is there anything to this thing that says your cravings, your body's telling you what it needs? Like, I find sometimes I'm craving something salt.
So
like
in
that.
your mind, you're wondering
if you need salt.
If you need,
well,
if
not
you're low in sodium.
not exactly, but like I don't tend to crave sweet.
Oh,
but those are conditioning
savory.
over time. Some persons have more of a desire for savory and more of a sweet person, and because of what your taste buds and your body has grown accustomed to, you're out, because sugar is very addictive. We have lots of persons with addiction to sugar and carbs, and you realize if you don't have it for a day, you're looking around in your refrigerator craving something. Those are the habits we've created. So that's what happens.
Yes.
Well, I know you touched on all of these already, because you said check your feet, keep your toenails trim, wear socks and shoes that fit well, protect your feet from the hot and cold temperatures. You know, we go for pedis sometimes. I love my pedis. I'm diabetic, yes. But then they say be mindful of the temperature of the water that you put your foot in or don't have. But it's soothing. It's relaxing.
No, but as a diabetic, because you've had your diabetic neuropathy and the changes there, you want to be careful. They always say test the water with your hand, with your elbow, because that would have more the sensation. It will be more acute there, more aware. So then you do not trust your feet enough in the water, because I've seen patients who've come to us over the years as well. They were doing soaks with water and the water was too hot for the feet, and they came with second-degree burns to their feet as diabetics, because they weren't aware of how hot the water was.
But I can still feel in the bottom of my foot. The only thing, sometimes I find myself shaking my feet because I feel things like it's crawling in it.
Oh, that's the diabetic nerve ending sensation, your glove and stocking sensation you get there. That's the tingling sensation you get as the diabetes progress and the nerves are damaged. The diabetics will tell you, Doc, I'm having this tingling sensation in my foot.
Or you feel like something's crawling.
Yes, like, that is where the injury is going on, on the inside. So gotta ensure that your blood sugars are controlled. You can have massages as well to stimulate the blood flow to the feet. Stay active. Okay, once you're active as well too as a diabetic, you open your blood vessels, you increase your blood flow to those areas.
Yeah.
So we encourage a lot of activities. Okay, but once you have an injury, we wouldn't encourage that activity during that
exactly. You
time.
have
But
to stay off
overall,
the
keep
feed.
healthy. Get your weight down. Do not smoke. What smoking does, it damages the blood vessels as well. You already have a high risk of what we call peripheral arterial disease, where the blood vessels are damaged. They get blocked or clogged with plaques. So you don't want to smoke and add risk to you as well too as a diabetic.
So what should diabetics avoid doing? Since I said I like to do this.
Yeah, you want to avoid, we spoke about that. We said smoking. You don't want to soak your feet in any hot water that you thought was warm, but
Warm,
it then
yeah, it's
turned
hot.
out to be hot. You don't want to remove any calluses or nails by yourself because you may cut too deep into your skin and create a problem. Remember, all you need is a break in the skin where bacteria can get in. For the average person, it is nothing and you move on. But for a diabetic, it can mean the loss of the entire limb. So you want to avoid doing that. Have a professional do that, okay? Have your feet checked. Those are things you want to avoid doing. Do not go cutting your nails and cutting off calluses because you think it's a bother and stuff. Have it checked out by your physician.
Oh boy.
I thought you were going to touch the use of alcohol. I was waiting
There's-
for that.
You just
But I guess we'll do that another time.
We'll do that another time.
Oh boy.
So we can touch but even as a diabetic, we want to ensure that you do not consume too much alcohol. He insisted that.
Here we go.
But Doc, I look at the lady and gentleman that I see on the corner. They're just a little bit from here. They drink every day and they look fine to me. The only thing I see, some of them have like swollen feet and stuff, I guess, from falling
So
down and all
you
of
may
that.
think that they're fine, but you may not know what's going on
In their
internally
body.
until one day they end up at the hospital with an end-stage
boy.
liver disease. So
Okay.
don't be fooled. We've spoken about this, and it's not to put a dig on Jamster.
I'm just looking out for his best interests, especially health-wise.
Okay, I'll give you one call.
Go right ahead.
Caller, go right ahead. I hope the phones are working this time. Caller? Oh, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
boy, this phone. Jam, so
Yeah.
we got to get our phone sorted,
Yeah, I
man. We're
know,
missing important
I
calls.
know. Yeah. One thing I wanted to ask, this is something no one's ever really, for some reason, I never looked at it. What's the difference between diabetes 1 and 2?
Okay, well, diabetes 1 and 2. Diabetic 1 is mostly considered juvenile diabetes, and diabetes type 2 occurs usually in advance as you get older. In diabetic type 1, usually the pancreas is that organ that sits in your almost to the back there inside of your tummy, and that organ has multiple function. It produces what we call insulin. And with diabetes type 1, the cells that are supposed to produce the insulin that are called the beta cells, they are lacking or severely destroyed, okay? And then you do not produce insulin. Remember, insulin helps to take the blood sugar that's circulating in the body and puts it into the cells where it is stored. So when you do not have any insulin that is being made by your body, then you have type 1 diabetes. Type 2 diabetes is now over time, as destruction over time, the changes in your body. You get into your 40s, your 50s, you get your weight increase, changes are occurring. So the cells are not functioning quite adequately. There is still some insulin, but you need more stimulation and you need assistance. It's not producing adequately. And then you put the pills on to assist.
Okay.
Get some overload.
Oh, boy.
All right.
Yeah, I was trying my best
To get
get you one call.
I'm sorry.
Okay, let's try one more. There's another one. They can't say I didn't try. Weekly Dose, you're on.
Hello, good morning.
Or not.
Hello. But you know, you can hear like someone's there,
Yeah,
but
so
you're not hearing
It's
them.
just not connecting.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry we're not able to receive your calls today.
We owe you one next week or when. Hopefully, we get our phone sorted out by today.
Yeah.
I'm going to be hopeful.
Yeah. Okay. We're due to be having Caribbean Lotto coming next. So
What are we going to be talking about? How to win some money?
that's what I'm wondering.
You're going to play?
I guess some of the upcoming promotions.
I've never played the lotto.
Me neither.
Why? Because I've never even won a raffle at school when you were giving out little raffles during
Really?
sports day and
No?
stuff. I don't think I'll get that lucky.
Yeah, I never win anything.
I've
You
never
never
won
know. You
anything.
never know until you try.
Yeah, so I hope everybody have a beautiful day today. So we're wrapping up here. But be careful if you know anyone who's diabetic or you yourself are diabetic. We need to encourage them to check in with their medical facilities. If you cannot see a private physician, the health centers are always available. There are doctors as well in the health centers. We have no obstacles to health care really here to get in some assistance. Oftentimes we do not access it. Okay, so we encourage our diabetics to take care of their feet, have them checked, and take their medications. Have a
Yes.
blessed day, everyone.
Oh, thank you for coming in, Doc.
Okay, bye-bye.
And great show as always.
Yep.
Yeah. That's it for today's edition of Weekly Dose. It's 9 minutes after 9 o'clock. Let's head to a break.
WINN is 98.9. 98.9 is Win FM.
Attention, food and fun enthusiasts! The Rotary Club of St. Kitts proudly presents the return of its annual Pork and Beer Fest! Saturday, 4th May, from 12 noon at the Rotary House in Fort Lands, opposite the Fort Thomas Hotel. Indulge your taste buds with mouth-watering, juicy roast pork, sauce, barbecue ribs, stew pork, smoked pork, cook-up, black pudding pork, and more pork, all expertly prepared by local chefs. And what better way to wash it down than with ice-cold, refreshing beer? Musical entertainment by DJ Terra, DJ Carty, and Mixclusive Sounds. Enjoy a day of fun with plenty prizes to be won. For more information, follow us on Facebook and contact Harper's or any member of the club for tickets. Don't miss the return of the annual Pork and Beer Fest, Saturday, May 4th at the Rotary House in Fort Lands.
Now look to selling pork chops. I will be buying pork chops. Insurance Company Limited, where you get more coverage for less.
Well, Kortensia has to take off. It's 12 minutes after 9 o'clock.
No pun intended.
Huh? What? What did I say?
She said she has to take off.
She had to. Oh yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. Yeah. Yeah, true.
Yes,
That's a good one.
She works for the airline.
She works for the airline.
Yes.
And she reminded me that today was international. And somebody had told me last week, and I forgot. But
Yes.
yeah. So Etienne Charles. This dude, he was actually here one time for music festival with Andy Narrell. You know, the guy that plays pan.
Yes.
And he plays the trumpet, but he lives in the States. He lives in Texas. Now this is a track from his upcoming album, and it's so he tries to fuse like calypso and soca with jazz.
Yes.
And the name of this track, you know what picong is, right? In the calypso tradition.
Tell me.
Picong. It's where it's sort of like when I like to tease you. You know how these calypsonians like. You know, you have these kind of friendly rivalries. Like there was one between Sparrow and Melody.
Yes.
Where they'd sing songs at each other. And
okay.
But you know, these guys like the best of friends.
Yes.
But or like here, you know, when they have
the
extempo, so they have, yeah, exactly. Like, right, yeah.
You may add a verse in the
and then
evening.
start to, you know.
Yes.
so this track is actually called Picon.
Picon.
Yeah. Okay, so much for that.
I was when you were talking, I was just here. I looked at WINNFM's news, and I saw that there was a shootout.
What?
Yeah, not in St. Kitts.
Oh, where? Oh, you mean in the States?
Mm-hmm.
That was yesterday, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so, some guy, they went to arrest some guy. And
yeah.
What state was it again? Texas?
So it says shootout, Charlotte.
So
yeah,
that was
North
Carolina. Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm. So, wow. So shootout that killed 4 law officers began as task force tried to serve a warrant, police say. So a shootout that killed 4 law enforcement officers and wounded 4 others in North Carolina began as officers approached a home to serve a warrant on a felon wanted for possessing a firearm, police said. Some of the officers who rushed to the Charlotte neighborhood Monday afternoon to rescue the first wave of downed officers were wounded as a second shooter began firing on them after they killed the wanted man. Charlotte Police Chief John Jennings said, and this is the quote from Jennings. It says, "Today we lost some heroes who were out simply trying to keep our community safe." End of quote.
I actually didn't realize that there was a second shooter. I know they arrested more than one person, but for some reason I think I kind of thought it was one person that was shooting.
And listen to this. It was after a 3-hour standoff.
3 hours?
The suburban Charlotte home was torn open. Vehicles smashed into it, ripping off windows and entire doorways that were left broken. Several armed vehicles were parked across yards.
So that's what the police had to do to get it?
Some with tree branches dangling off them.
Wow.
Wow. It goes on to say that the U.S. Marshals Task Force was fired on by the wanted suspect as they approached the house, and the man was killed in front the yard, Jennings said. The police identified him as Terry Clark Hughes Jr., 39. He was wanted for possession of a firearm by a felon and 2 counts of felony flee to evade in Lincoln County, North Carolina. A second person then fired on officers from inside the home where a high-powered rifle was found, Jennings added.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and you know, it's funny. I I saw a thing yesterday on Twitter, right? Someone was posted it to point out. By the way, do we know what race those perpetrators were?
The article, from what I've read so far, has not indicated.
It hasn't indicated. Okay.
Because, this is someone giving an account of what happened, and I'm just trying to go up. April. It says after. Okay. Someone was saying, we came outside, there were no cops at all. Then the cops started rushing in, she said. Adding SWAT trucks quickly followed, that they are going over the grass, everything, and they started shooting again. This person said, I see like 50 police cars zooming in, and then I hear gunshots, he said, on the floor of a porch of the house he shares with his cousin. I'm scared because there was so much going on. Wow.
Because I wanted to say that someone posted something on Twitter yesterday where there's this. Now, you know, some states have open carry, and you know, and this guy had it was a white guy. He had a sidearm in plain view, like in a holster, right?
Yeah.
And he also had an AR-15 over his shoulder. And in the picture, the white guy, listen, he has, look at this, AZ. He has, the policeman is like there, right? And he's like going for the gun. And the policeman, rather than going for his gun, is like it's a photograph. So it's like, no, take it easy, you know. And the point the poster was making is, would a black guy even be allowed to do that?
Hmm.
Because what would happen? I mean, can you
Yeah.
imagine a black guy in even an open carry state? Because I've actually seen where
Yes.
you have black guys open carry and it's fine. But the whole thing was, here was this guy, civilian, with his hand on his gun as though he was about to draw on the cop. But the cop, rather than doing the same thing,
Yeah.
his gun hand is actually like pointing in the guy's chest direction, clearly saying, well, take it easy. And the poster was making the point, well, I bet you if this guy was black, he would have been, the cop would have drawn his gun and it would have been a totally different, So that's why I was wondering, Charlotte, North Carolina, it's probably white folks. Because they have, they tend to have this kind of aggressive, set upon mindset, like, oh, the cops, you think you're gonna come and get me? Well, you're gonna have to take me out foot first, type thing.
Yeah, this I'm looking now at the NY Times, and it says that it speaks about it, and part of the article asks the question, how often do shootings like this happen? And it says, this is one of the deadliest recent attacks on law enforcement in the United States. In July 2016, 4 police officers and 1 transit officer were killed in downtown Dallas after an armed sniper opened fire during a demonstration against fatal shootings by police. The police killed the gunman with an explosive sent by a remote-controlled robot.
Wow.
I read that and I was just thinking something in the movie,
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, generally, when black dudes do that, they're really pissed off about something. Generally, that doesn't happen. I mean, we get killed for just existing, It's like someone just said, as we get killed for traffic violations,
So sad.
Actually, I meant to tell you, I reached out to Heather Archibald, the poet, the writer and poet, and she was supposed to come on last week, but something ended up happening. So, I'm still gonna be working on that. Let me see. She actually did send me a message. Okay. Oh, I got a message from her. She's saying, I've struggled with reaching out to you because I didn't want to trouble you, but I was wondering if I missed any updates from you. Our former correspondence seems to have disappeared. Really? Okay, so just in case I've missed you, I'm reaching out. Hope this week is kinder than the last. Okay, good. So we're going to try and get Heather Archibald in here. I spoke to her last week, actually. Remember we were saying we'd get her to come on.
The short story,
Yeah.
she being a finalist and
Yeah.
everything. It would be wonderful to hear about
Yeah,
her
and
experience and what the book.
Yeah.
Sorry, the short story is about. It said about marriage proposal, and really.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's the caption.
that was the title.
of
Oh,
the
okay.
short story.
Yeah.
And so, marriage proposal, it could be the literal meaning marriage proposal, and it could mean other things. So it would be nice to have a discussion with her.
Yeah. Why are you sounding? Oh, I see what it is. Okay.
I see this thing now on Loop News, right? And it said sword wielding man attacks passerby in London and kills 13-year-old boy.
Well, they don't have guns. They got to use something, right? I don't want to sound flippant, but it's always funny. It's funny, but not funny when countries where it's hard to get a gun. Like in China, they'd have people like with a sword, just like going crazy down a sidewalk or something, with a knife or.
So a man wielding a sword attacked members of the public and police officers in an East London suburb early Tuesday, killing a 13-year-old boy and injuring 4 others, authorities say. So a 36-year-old man was arrested in a residential area near an underground station, police said. The incident is not being treated as a terror-related or targeted attack. The 2 police officers were in hospital being treated for stab wounds. 2 other people were also injured. And this is the chief superintendent, Stuart Bell. He described the incident as truly horrific. And he goes on to say, cannot even begin to imagine how those affected must be feeling. End of quote. He said outside the homes in East London where the crime happened. That's crazy.
Yeah. I just saw a comment here about, remember we were talking about the Palestine and stuff. Or, someone sent a comment. I'm assuming he means you. Is he opposed to speaking about the Caribbean and Africa recent stance on international issues affecting us? What about the fact that speaking against the injustice in Gaza is considered anti-Semitism? Wait. Oh, okay, well. Anti-Semitism. But when black people speak about the injustices we face, we're told to shut up and stop playing the race card. Yeah, that's a good point, actually. Yeah, because, and you know how I was saying that these people control so much influence. They control the media, they control the film industry, and yet they like to act like they're the most persecuted people on the planet. I mean, you know who the most persecuted people on the planet are? There's two of us sitting here right now.
I know.
Yeah.
As it relates to, I mean, for me, when it comes to matters of race, racial matters, I try not to paint one brush. I do know that we face injustice.
Yeah,
of course, it'll be.
But you know what happens there?
Foolish not to say and recognize that we do face injustice.
But you ever heard the term the tyranny of the minority? What happens when we do this because we're trying to be even-handed and thing is what happens is we end up. Okay, if you take 100, let me use. There's an analogy Muhammad Ali used to use, and I think it's perfect. When he was asked, and he was very active in the civil rights movement and so on. Remember one time he was asked about how all white. You were saying, well, white people aren't racist and blah 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 blah, and he said, well, if 1,000 snakes were coming down that hallway there, most of them are poisonous and some are not. How would it serve me to assume that I don't know which ones are poisonous, so I'll just pretend all of them are not poisonous? He said, making the point that given what snakes are, you don't know which is which. You have to act accordingly, right? You're not going to be stupid. Or if you get locked in, imagine if you got locked into a room with 10 snakes, maybe 7 of them are poisonous. Or even 5 of them are poisonous and 5 are non-venomous. I'm using the wrong term. Venomous, non-venomous, right? Are you prepared in the name of political correctness to not insult the snakes and say, oh, well, I don't know if you're poisonous or not. So I'm just gonna sit here and pretend all of you are non-poison or non-venomous. You see my point? So what I'm saying, especially when the overwhelming evidence is that things take a particular path.
I don't know if I'm comfortable with that analogy, using and referring.
Maybe I did it inartfully. I don't know.
In terms of characterizing or making a similarity between people and snakes, I get what you're trying to say, but I don't know if I'm comfortable with classifying persons of our race to snakes. But persons of our human.
No. But what I'm making the point about the fact that what I'm saying is, if you fall into a pit of
our human race.
Yeah, no, but you snakes. See, but you concentrate on the wrong thing. The analogy is about the fact that snakes are known to be venomous. Some of them are not. But if you're in a situation where
then you're going on the fact that certain individuals are known to be destructive, hateful.
But what I'm saying though, if you're in a life and death situation, or you're in a critical situation where you don't know which is which, and you're going to do what you can, meaning not saying you're going to do anything aggressive, but you're going to take defensive measures. So, for example, if you're locked into the room with them, and maybe there's a box that you can stand on, you're not going to assume, you're not going to say, oh, I'm going to keep standing on the ground because these 10 snakes in here, I don't know which ones are venomous, which ones aren't. Let me just act like all of them are non-venomous. You can't do that.
But that could be, but I don't know if I'm comfortable with just grouping persons as one particular kind or generalizing them to. I think persons are persons.
Okay.
You meet them as you go. I don't know if I'm comfortable with making those separations. That it's us again and them. Not saying that they aren't persons who carry hatred in their hearts and stuff like that, but
Oh, and here's another comment about the ammunition thing.
Mm-hmm.
The world has gone mad. We must not forget that ammunition and war machinery is being sold. So to hell with the life of the Palestinians. The white world has no room for no one else. We gotta keep eye upon them. America is making money from this war, so the lives of the Palestinian people are of no value or concern. That is the harsh reality. Yeah, he has a point, because take for example, the Americans paying lip service to, you guys are going ham on those people in Gaza. Meanwhile, sending them arms and ammunition every time. So on one hand, saying, you have to ease up. You have to, chill out with the bombing and stuff. But then on the other hand, sending. So yeah. Yeah.
I hear trying to see if there were any comments on the.
Let me try this
Facebook.
call. See if this works. Caller, go right ahead. Hello.
So we haven't been having calls in a while then.
Yes, yesterday. The only calls we were getting were the overseas lines.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Okay, you know what? Let's go to the 9:30 break and come back.
Yeah, that's
come
fine.
back and chat. Yeah.
Yes.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
Looking for something extra? Look no further. Suppligent's got you covered with our Suppligent Shop and Win promotion. You can be the lucky winner to take home one of 3 cash prizes. Just spend $12 or more on any Suppligent Tetra products at your favorite supermarket, write your name and contact at the back of your bill, and place it in the specially marked entry form box for a chance to win big. Promotion runs April 1st to May 30th, 2024. Suppligent boosts you up.
9:34 now. International Jazz Day, and I want to let I want to pay some respects to Adrian Lamb. I should tell you, AZ. Adrian is one of the big reasons why I really got into jazz. I used to go down to Walls. Right? Like after high school, after school and so on. Sometimes on Saturdays I just go in there and look at music, and then that's actually how I got to know Adrian. And I remember one afternoon. This was when I was still in high school, and I stayed in the store until the store closed. We were listening music and stuff, and we started to talk, and and that's how the friendship started. And we'd always talk about music and listen to stuff, and so the homegoing service is going to be tomorrow at the Anglican Church. But yeah, this is not a very happy time for anyone who knows Adrian, and of course, not least of which would be his family. So I just wanted to use International Jazz Day as an opportunity to point out that he is a big part of my music education, you could say, and I guess music appreciation and all that. I just wanted to say that. Yeah,
it's so sad. Again, condolences to Adrian's family. I know it cannot be easy.
Yeah,
and I mean,
it's not going to be the same. Let me just tell you, right, Azard, it's not. It is not going to be the same, because there's so many. We used to have these running jokes between us, right? Like, so for example, sometimes I'm here. I remember, like, back said 2017, 2018 coming up there. Sometimes I'm in here. Maybe I'm technically not on the air, right? But I might put something on, or maybe I might have started a shift, but maybe he just tuned in, right? And I might be playing something, and he'd call me, and he'd call, and he would go, "Did you put on that?" I said, "Why?" He said, "Hey," I said, "Yeah," and I would say, "Yeah." And he would say, "It's only you. Only you would have been you playing that."
Yes.
Or sometimes he would call me and say, "Oh, I was listening to an FM this Sunday afternoon, and I heard this song. You were on?" I said, "No. Because sometimes it's just the automation, but sometimes there'll be time." I said, "Oh no, that's probably just the automation, but but it's not gonna be the same, because think of Carnival, think of Music Festival, all these things that he was
you were a part of.
Yes, and like I always used to try and get him to, which probably wasn't appropriate most of the time, because most of the time he had the sound company was providing the sound, but I always just tell him, "Why don't you come and you should come and judge soca and so more?" But he said, "No, I don't want to, because I think one time I got him to. I think one time he judged. I think it was up 17 degrees. This was about maybe 6 years ago. We had Calypso. I think one time we got him to judge for Calypso Eliminations. I think it was. Or was it? Oh, it might have been the best of the best. And so it was fun, because I always, and then sometimes he would come to the judging workshops and so, so it's a huge.
He has been part of the the music industry here in St. Kitts and Nevis. He has been part of the Carnival, as you said, the music festival. Yeah,
it's a huge loss.
And then you had the passing just recently, and he's already been buried, Alfonso Bridgewater.
Yes.
Just on Friday.
Yes. I wanted to go to that, but I couldn't go, because also, Friday, Friday was, I had a lot of previously planned stuff that I had to
Yeah.
do, and because I was actually planning to go to Bridges' funeral as well, but I was planning to go to Bob's funeral as well, but that didn't work out because Bob's again.
Yeah.
You know, I've had good relationships with all those people. Bridges was a friend of my mother, and you know, so on. And
So it was for much of the the popular persons, you have Bobsy, you have Bridges, you have Adrian. Wow.
Yeah, and not fun. So I'm just hoping. You plan to go to the funeral?
We said tomorrow, you mean?
Yeah.
Tomorrow. Well, I'll see how tomorrow. I'll see.
Yeah.
I will.
I absolutely
see for
trust
sure.
me. I absolutely
because
understand.
I actually was, when I was thinking I hadn't heard of the announcement, and then you said tomorrow now, and I thought to myself, I don't know if things are just moving very quickly.
Yeah,
generally, but I felt like, oh, that's quick.
Yeah, I was actually. I thought it was kind of quick too, actually. But I was so busy last week, and
and things. I don't know. April has been very, very busy. So many things have gone on in April.
And so we have the Labor Day weekend coming up. You were here yesterday? Oh no, you weren't here yesterday. So
here.
so the traffic officer they gave the the notices for traffic like around Pam and
it's
over.
gonna be.
So what are you guys doing on
the
on
People's
Monday?
Action Movement?
That's Monday, right?
Yeah, the People's
Monday.
Action Movement is doing what it usually does. Pam headquarters, their breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Yeah.
And then during that time, there's also going to be entertainment.
Are you guys gonna have small acts?
The entertainment will be out soon and
So
finalized.
not
We
finalized
have been in discussion as to what the type of entertainment would be, and so that would be shortly given. But definitely, the People's Action Movement on Monday is the place to be to get some really nice meals. The breakfast, the lunch, and the dinner, at the People's Action Movement. We're going to be having food, we're going to have entertainment.
So you're gonna have saltfish and stuff? Saltfish and Johnny cake and so on?
Yeah, we normally have the saltfish. Yes. And, it's the women's group really organizes the food on that day. You understand? And so, to my knowledge, it's going to be saltfish. And, so... I have some tickets, Now you say that, I'm glad you mentioned it. I have some tickets. I could give you about 2 tickets.
Tickets. Also, you don't just go up and... Oh, yeah, I didn't know you...
I'll give you some tickets.
I didn't realize...
How many would you need, Jamster? We could talk off air about those tickets. And if the persons who need tickets, the food is going to be really good. I and other executive members have tickets.
Okay.
And so, yes.
Okay. Actually, we went over... You were here when... No, that was Voices. We had the 2 people from Green Valley. And they were here, and they had... They managed to pawn off 2 tickets on me for the breakfast, but it was actually pretty good. So me and
but
wifey,
I'm going to tell you that this one is going to be pretty good too.
Yeah. Okay. We drove over there last week, Saturday morning. They had bush. Hey, you know what's interesting?
Yes.
They had the bush tea in a like a pot, on a coal pot, right?
Yes.
And the bush tea was basil tea. But what I found interesting, and it actually made it very interesting, the smoke from the bush tea had a kind of smoky taste.
So the aroma,
it was nice. I was like,
from the bush,
from the coal pot.
Oh.
It was kind of interesting. That's how you noticed. I think actually I am the only one that had the bush tea,
and it made it a very soothing.
Yeah, it was kind of, it's very nostalgic. It reminds me of when I used to go by my great aunt in mansion, and they have the coal pot and that kind of thing. But the breakfast was good. The breakfast was very good. The Green Valley community breakfast.
Yes.
It was on the right side there.
Yes.
The grassy area.
Yes.
Just across from Green Valley Pub, kind of thing. Yeah, so that was nice. And there was something else was about it. Oh yeah, I meant to ask you.
Mm-hmm.
Someone called yesterday and asked, do you guys take part in the Labor Day match? Oh, I think it was Kay. She was saying she was saying she finds that the Labor Day celebration here seems to be very politicized, which is true.
It is very politicized.
So don't you guys take part?
We haven't been a part of.
I know
of
Sean.
the match.
I know Sean used to go in
as
a
a
white
group,
shirt and
yeah.
other group.
I mean,
and
there might be one or two supporters of the party.
He would join in with the other with the Labour people as well.
I
think I've seen that happen at least once or twice.
I've seen him in
which
pictures
is nice,
and stuff like that.
Which is actually nice. I mean, we need to stop.
Then if it's not going to be political, then the Labour Day match should not be organized by the Labour Day Party.
I agree.
It should be organized by
an independent organization.
When you see the Labour Party sending out pictures about pom-pom girls and this and that, you see that it's a political match, and I mean, I need not say anything else. So as I was saying, we do have our activities, and parties have their activities. The Labour Party have their activities. People's Action Movement have its activities on May Day, and so we do hope that the match one these days will be more
non-partisan.
Yes. And I think then you'll get persons. But when you see that the Labour Party is having pom-pom girls and stuff like that, it's coming from. It's being organized from a political party.
Thank you,
and that's a political party's event.
Yeah, I don't know what all of that has to do with workers. Yeah.
I said to myself, Lord, I feel sorry for
Rusty,
those pom-pom girls in the sun.
Yeah, Jams too.
Hey,
why are you being so devilish?
What did I do?
Asking Azard, the chairman of PAM, if PAM does go to Labor Day match, you fully well know it's not Labor Day match, it's Labor Party.
Well, that was the point.
Match.
That was the point.
Yes.
That's the point. Because wouldn't you say that one of the functions of the opposition is to try and right that wrong, right?
No. Hold on.
And
we cannot right that wrong
and fix that distortion of what
I don't know
Labor
how
Day
we
is
could
about.
fix that.
Mm-hmm.
I really don't know how we could do that unless we have a match as well. Because Labor Party Day match will always be Labor Party Day match. Unless laborers or workers want to go and match, and they insist on that, there could be a Labor Day match and there could be a PAM match. So PAM will go walk the whole of Central Street from PAM headquarters, go on the whole of Central Street, and they turn around by the fire station, and Labour will go down on Keon Street and turn down one of them, maybe to the back of the station, and come back around and walk back up the other street.
But let me ask you, AZ raises a very, very good point. Isn't it time?
I didn't hear him.
He said that the Labor Day match should not be organized by Labor parties, and I absolutely agree. Should be organized. Of course. Yeah.
Of course. Mm-hmm. But it's never gonna happen because it actually kind of started as a Labor Day match when Bradshaw was around and you had a real labor union. But the same labor union that they were matching turned the whole thing as not just the laborers, but turned into a party match. It was both a party match and a workers match. I remember going Runaway Billy Hubbard, songs. I actually was in the band with the guy for the prison that was playing the drum set, was the guy for the army, was playing the drums thing. I know all of this. I mean, I've been to many Labor Day match.
You mean Bridgewater? Not Bridgewater. You mean Morris?
Say again?
Mr. Morris.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he that was the ban back then.
Mhm.
I was really acting like they know what went on. But listen, Pam has came up with the Mayday stuff, and I think that is it for us. You have your Labour Day match, your Labour Party Day match. I don't know what we call it Labour Day match. It is Labour Party match.
Yes.
Let's get it clear. It is Labour Party match. Call a spade, and Pam, they are ready.
I think
That's
about
it. And then that's
yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I'm saying I think about 2 years ago, I had a panel here with I think it was Stanley Franks.
Yeah.
And, well, that was us last year, wasn't it?
That was us last year,
yeah, that was us last year. Yeah. And so we brought up that we were saying, you know,
we did have all of those things
Yeah.
last year. Quickly, how time flies.
Yeah.
Same and issues remain the
Well,
same.
Stanley Franks is diehard Labour.
Yes.
So that's another story. But these guys are gonna stick to Labour stuff.
Yes, but he actually espoused what Izzy, what we were saying, that the Labour Day match really should not be about the Labour Party, it should be about the Labour movement and workers.
Exactly, but there's no movement to that. You ever see a St. Kitts Labour movement at all? You ever see a movement? Not even the union. Not even listen. I was a member of the teachers union when I started to teach way back then. And I had a problem because 3 ministers of government, 3, not 1, 3 of them came after me when Rock had shot Zero. I was down at government quarters taking pictures, and 3 of them got on me back and sent me home for 9 months without pay. And I went to my union for representation, and my union with a Labour woman from living Keon, big going Keon, decided nothing for me. A woman ball, a nurse, she died, a teacher ball. Y'all can't demand that y'all come and represent the man. Nothing. There's a Pam lady on the committee, and she looked like she was up for, but it is my opinion that she was afraid or shy to say anything. And then I just said, I don't with teachers union, I ain't paying the money for you. If you can't represent me, why should I give you money? And I just stopped being a member of the teachers union. But that's how we are in St. Kitts. You're either one side or the other, and it's terrible.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
Caller, you on?
But that's
Caller, you
the
on?
point.
Yeah. Caller,
Huh?
wait, let me check. Caller, are you there? Oh, I'm hearing someone. You're hearing somebody, right? Yeah. Caller, go right ahead. Hello, caller. What is going on with these phones? Hello.
It's me talking to somebody else.
No, somebody else is there. I'm trying to get them to join, but hello, caller. Why is this person? Well, okay. Let's try something else. Caller. Okay. Well, Rusty, those people don't. They don't seem to be able to get through. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the point. I want to make another point, because I used to follow the Labour Day match when they coming down on Central Street when Babs, God bless his soul, was around, and I had a little conversation with a minister who has a sister who is a boy, and he started to trust some more than me, and he believe I can't do it, but
a minister who has a what? A minister who
has a brother who is his sister. That's all I can say.
A minister who
me not being out money, you can't go
okay.
jail. It's real good jail. So if you can't figure out who that minister be, that's you be.
A minister as in a religious minister or a
no Labour Day match. I think a minister who has a brother who is a girl.
Oh, okay, all right. I just picked it up. Yeah. Okay.
And the man, that same man took it turn on me, and another man who was.
We have
I don't know. I do not know what's going on.
I want to make a lot of points, you know.
Hey, caller, go right ahead.
Johnson, please turn on the volume on your 4660989. Maybe that's where you can hear.
Okay. Okay, it's very strange. Okay. Okay, Easy. I don't know. These phones are acting very strange. Okay, let me see. Let's see what's going on here. Caller, go right ahead. Hello, caller. Hello. I was kind of hoping that Okay, I think there's some hope. There might be some hope on the horizon, though. But let me see. Hi, caller. Go right ahead. Having some trouble with the phone here. Hey, what's up? Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah,
you're on the air. Go ahead.
I'm on the air. Okay.
Yeah, mhm.
All right. Yeah. Phone's acting up again.
Yeah.
With regards to the Labor Day march,
Mm-hmm.
it is in fact very political. Okay, and that's unfortunate, but that's the way it has been for such a long time now. And it has become somewhat of a barometer as to the support for the Labour Party. Okay, so you'll find at times there's an ebb and flow. Sometimes it's well attended. Sometimes other times it's not, depending on the fortunes of the Labour Party. Okay, and it's hopefully it also becomes a barometer of our maturity, political maturity as well, because once it's seen as a workers' march and people from all political parties participate, then I think is when you can say we've arrived in terms of political maturity, right? That's not going to happen anytime soon. Not when we have Rusty, for instance, saying, I would never, ever vote for the Labour Party, regardless, right? I thought that statement should have been challenged because it suggests that regardless to what happens, it's not a case of country above self, it's party above everything else, you know? And so hopefully at some point in the, hopefully not too distant future, we get a change from the populace. Obviously it has come from leadership of both parties to really come together. That word again, kumbaya, I know, is hard, but yeah, I know, right? But I'm saying it only takes one or two really visionary leaders to effect change, because a lot of us are followers, eh? And if somebody, if you can have this sequence in terms of politics, in terms of, let's say, the Labour Party, PLP, unity, the rapprochement between Grantley and the Labour Party, which you used to criticize so much. If you can have that, you can have a change in terms of certainly the workers' match.
Mm-hmm.
Why not?
Mm-hmm. Okay,
right?
well said.
Okay.
Okay, great.
But you don't believe that.
Well, I mean, I really would like to see. Wouldn't it be nice? I mean, why can't we have a system where, for example, the Labor Day match, maybe every year we have a rotating, for example, maybe the BPW can organize it one year and then the next year the teachers union, you know, sort of like that, you know?
Yeah, that's a good start. Yeah.
Chamber of Industry and Commerce the other year. You know.
That's a really good, that would be a really good start.
Yeah.
You know, and you know,
Rotary the next year, JCs, like that.
But except that, you know, that has to come from the Labour Party, because the Labour Party basically is like they have a rights to the Labour Day march.
Yeah, but
you know, and so that might be hard to give up. But like I said, if you got a visionary leader, that it can happen.
That small-mindedness needs to end. Labor Day should be about the workers and not about a political party.
Yeah, it obviously should be. Yeah, but and it's not one-sided. Eh? It's not entirely the fault of the Labour Party. There's pushback from the opposition party. Well, PAM as well.
And I also think it's a day. It's like the perfect day for the political parties to kind of come together and just forget all the nonsense. And, you know. Yeah. And I think the people would receive it well. You know. Yeah. Whoever makes that move, I think they would have had a feather in the cap, and they would be seen as essentially a progressive, really progressive. I mean, wouldn't it be nice?
Party.
wouldn't it be nice if that post parade thing, like say on the Patsy Alice Field, it's like all the parties you'd actually have. Okay, it includes like the whole. That would be.
But you know, Jamster, what the problem might be.
What?
Red is associated with the workers' day match as much as it is with the party.
With party.
So
but we can go beyond that. You know, one of the things that always warms my heart. I've always seen almost every year when they have the Labor Day, I always see people. During elections, I always see people in their PAM shirt or recently the PLP shirt and the red shirt, and you see them hugging up and they're hanging out together as though, and I like to see that,
No,
so
but
why
why
can't that happen on?
No, but the thing is, you want to keep the parties and their symbols out of it as far as possible.
Well, yeah,
right?
I mean,
the thing is, with the Labour Party adopting red as its symbol, it's easily misconstrued.
Which is why we gotta go. We gotta wrap now.
I guess there would be some PAM people who would not be seen dead in red.
Easy wears red now and then, but I'm surprised he doesn't break out in hives when. I like an allergic reaction. I'm surprised he doesn't break out in hives when he wears red. Like an allergic reaction.
Labor Day. Labor Day is often referred to.
Hope springs eternal, and maybe one of these days we become mature enough. To have the kind of thing that. And the thing is, we know that is how it should be.
Yeah.
But it's making that step.
Okay, we gotta leave it there. Just to say before we go, AZ, you know that when Team Unity was in, Sean and they used to try to do the white shirt thing, which is what Ira was kind of saying. So it would be nice to see that where you don't have the party colors.
From an independent, the organizer has to be independent, and not just when I say independent, not appearing independent but hold office in a political party.
Mm-hmm.
So you catch.
What
I mean? Yeah. For example.
So I mean, even if you're from a party, it's not about the party. It's about
what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Sometimes we have a group, but the group that is doing it are high-ranking members of a party. So it comes across as just an extension of the party.
Like a stealth political thing.
Yes.
Still. Yeah.
So
well, maybe not so stealth.
If not even if it might be, a support, a mixture of supporters, but
I mean, there's nothing wrong with people knowing that you support a particular party, but if it's done in good faith, where you're like, it's not about the party now, it's about the workers, blah blah blah. I think people would respond well to something like that.
So we could have we
have a lot of
a Workers' Day match, Maybe we could start calling it a Workers' Day match. So it takes away from the whole what we've been thinking,
could work too. Yeah.
So
the word labor has nothing to do with the party. It really means work.
But different places across the world call it different things.
Yeah,
in
some say
regions,
Workers' Day.
It's known as International Workers' Day. In some places they call it Labor Day. In some places they call it May Day. But if it is that we're going to do a match for workers, for the message to be very clear, maybe we could use Workers' Day match.
Yeah.
And so persons know it's for, because yes, you could use labor, but you don't want it to be the misconception that is just
for the Labour Party.
And it's based on our own circumstances, where we would say
because it's been over I guess politicized and so on. Okay guys, we gotta leave you there. So hope you have a great day.
You too, man. Thank you.
See you tomorrow.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.